This lesson is on the addition of mixed numbers. When we multiplied and divided mixed numbers, we didn't have a choice. There was just really one way to do it. When you add mixed numbers or subtract them, you do have a little bit of a choice. Your choice is between either adding the whole number portions and then the fraction portions and then simplifying, or turning them both into improper fractions and going from there. So I'm going to show you both ways, but this is certainly the way that I prefer. The first way, I would really be adding the 2 plus the 1, the 2 and the 1 together, and then adding the 4/15 and the 4/5 together, and then that would be my result, is the sum of those two sums. So 2 plus 1 is obviously 3, and 4/15 plus 4/5, I would have to multiply 4 by 3 to get 12 and 5 by 3 to get 15, so that I could then add 4 plus 12, or 16/15. So I have 3 plus 16/15. Well, 16/15 is improper, then 16/15 would reduce to 1 and 1/15, and then I would end up with 3 plus 1, or 4 and 1/15. So the reason that I don't love this first way of doing it is a lot of people really struggle when you end up with the 16/15 and having to add it to the 3 that you already had. If you like this way better, however, feel free to do it this way. I'm now going to show you turning them both into improper fractions. I'm going to end at the same result, so again, it's really a personal preference. If you are turning them into improper fractions, of course, I would take 2 times 15 plus 4, which is 34/15, and 1 times 5 plus 4, which would be 9/5. Just as I did up here, I need to make that common denominator so that I could add them together. So I would take the second fraction times 3 on top and on bottom, which gives me 34/15 plus 27/15. When I add those together, I get 61/15. And of course, when I reduce 61/15, 15 goes into 61 4 times with 1 left over. So notice 4 and 1/15, 4 and 1/15, same solution. It's really a matter of personal preference of what makes more sense to you. I choose the second way because I don't have to deal with this situation. For this question, we're first going to estimate our solution, and then we're going to actually find the solution. So when we're estimating, really what we're doing is we're finding about what our answer will be, so that when we actually find our answer, that we know if we're in the right ballpark. So 4 and 1/8, how do we round mixed numbers? Well, just like we did with decimals, when we said if it was 5 or greater, we would round up. So 0.5 would be, of course, a half. So I'm looking at the 1/8. Since 1 is less than half of 8, then I'm going to round that one to 4 because it's closer to 4 than 5. 2 and 1/2, well, remember 0.5 or higher we round up, so this is actually a 0.5, 1/2 is 0.5. And since 1 is half or more of 2, I round 2 up to 3, so my estimated result is 7. All that tells me is when I'm done adding these two values together, if I get something that's not anywhere near 7, I probably did something wrong. But let's go ahead and take a look. Again, I'm going to use method 2 from our last example. 4 times 8 plus 1, which is 33/8. And then 2 times 2 plus 1 gives me 5/2. I can't add them if they don't have a common denominator, so the least common denominator of 8 and 2 is 8, so I must multiply by 4. So that gives me 33/8 plus 20/8 for a total of 53/8. And then of course I would then turn it back into a mixed number. So 8 goes into 53 6 times, and then I would subtract that 6 times 8, or 48, from 53 to get 5/8 left over. Again, I was doing that mental math. You're always welcome to set it up in this way and do the long division as well. For these questions, I would like you to estimate the sum and then find the actual sum for both. So for my first question, I am going to first estimate. And when I estimate 4 and 5/6, 5 is greater than half of 6, and so that's going to be about 5. And 3 and 1/3, 1 is less than half of 3, and so that's going to round to 3. And so I'm going to get 8 as my estimation for the sum. So it should be somewhere close to 8. To find the actual solution, I'm going to turn these into improper fractions. So 4 times 6 is 24, plus 5 is 29/6. And then 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10/3. I can't add unless they are a common denominator, so I'm going to turn them both into a denominator of 2. So 29/6 plus 20/6 gives me 49/6. Then of course I'm finding how many times will 6 go into 49 evenly, and it looks like 8 times with 1/6 left over, 8 and 1/6. So 8 was my estimation, 8 and 1/6 is my actual solution, so I feel pretty good about it. For my second, the estimation, 44 and 7/8. 7/8 is obviously greater than 1/2, so that would be 45. And 9 and 5/6, that would be again greater than half, so that would round to 10. So my estimation is that I should get something close to 55 for my solution. Now comes the fun part. So the first thing I'm going to do, and I've already done, is I have turned 44 and 7/8 into an improper fraction and 9 and 5/6 into an improper fraction. I need for these to now have a common denominator, so I look at 8 and 6 and decide that they should be 24. So that means I'm going to take the top and bottom by 3 to make 8 into 24, and the top and bottom times 4 to make 6 into 24. Now that I have calculated my new fractions, 1077 24ths plus 236 24ths, I'm going to add the two numerators together, and that gives me 1313 24ths. Again, I'm going to divide that by 24. So 1313 divided by 24 goes in 5 times. So 5 times 24 would give me 120. I would subtract, and then that would be 4 times, so 4 times 24 is 96, and that gives me 17, and so my answer is 54 and 17/24. Big, big number.